Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and distinguished colleagues, thank you for all this great opportunity as we gather to explore and discuss call instructions in Indonesia in this presentation. I'm honored to have the opportunity to be with you here and share my insights on this relevant matter. Before I dive into the details, let me begin by saying that computer-assisted language learning, or CAL, holds immense significance in today's education world. It impacts our daily lives and shapes and influences the directions of our education. By delving deeper into computer-assisted language learning, we can uncover new perspectives, possibilities, and solutions that may enrich our understanding and drive positive change. Therefore, in this great opportunity, me, Muhammad Haikal from the University of Darussalam Gontor, Indonesia, together with my colleagues from University of Cordoba, Spain, Cristina, we are going to deliver our study, which entitled Call Instructions in Indonesia, a qualitative study with EFL students and teachers. For the topics that we are going to discuss in this presentation would be introduction, theoretical framework, methodology, findings and discussion, conclusions, and the last will be references. The first point is introduction. The relevance of English as the most widely used language in both written and spoken all over the globe has increased from time to time, and it's eventually considered nowadays as the global lingua franca. This fact has eventually involved educational sectors in Indonesia, such as schools, language academies, and higher education institutions to take part based on their circumstances and capacities. With various undertakings of approaches, method, and strategies of English as foreign language or EFL, their main objective is to equip learners with English language skills. In such cases, one of the ways to facilitate students and teachers is to integrate the technology during EFL teaching and learning. Therefore, with the presence of CAL as an approach to teaching language by using educational technology to convey contents learned. It is believed that CAL can assist teaching staff and facilitate the language learning process. Besides, this approach is considerably helpful in creative ideas in language teaching, and it may produce effective way to deliver the expected materials and target. For the research objective, as the study attempt to explore student-teacher perspective about the implementations of CAL instructions in EFL teaching and learning, especially at the University of Darussalam Gontor, we came up with three following research questions. The first, what are students' perspective on CAL instructions in EFL teaching and learning? And then what are the teachers' perspective on CAL instructions in EFL teaching and learning? And the last is what benefits and drawbacks may teacher and students obtain when applying CAL instructions in EFL classrooms? The next point is theoretical. The first is about EFL learning and teaching in Indonesia. The global community in the current Industrial Revolution 4.0 has become a world community that is no longer bound and separated by distance and time, thanks to the rapid developments in the field of information technology. The world community is then becoming one and not separated, resulting in a mastery of foreign languages, especially English. For this reason, along with the development of today's era in Indonesia itself, currently learning English as a foreign language is no longer elitist as every individual has the possibility to learn it, and EFL has been introduced even to very young learners. Moreover, at the secondary to tertiary levels, English has been an absolute necessity in Indonesia. The issue of globalization has been considered upon the previous curriculum, which is embodied in the content standard for English subjects for the school level. It is stated that one of the goals of organizing this subject is for students to have the awareness of the nature and importance of English is to increase the nation's competitiveness in a global society. Nevertheless, this seems incompatible with the government policy in the 2013 curriculum or K13, which instead of intending to create a future generation that can compete at international level in the era of globalization, English in the primary school is eliminated and hours of English in secondary school level have been reduced. The next is Call in Indonesia. The use of call among EFL teachers is that educational technology can enhance teachers' work and are helpful for students even without teachers' presence. Nowadays, computer technology is smaller, faster, and easier to be operated by teachers and students. Software has also been designed to load multimedia, combining video, sound, and text, and this capacity allows students to interact with teachers, software, and other students. Carl also believes to offer the flexibility to acquire individual learning, help select content that suits individual learning style, and provide a communicative learning environment. Furthermore, in line with the use of call in Indonesian context, it provides huge benefits, especially when emergency circumstances are faced, yet teaching learning activities are still necessitated. A study revealed that when the whole world was hit by a health crisis, the COVID-19 pandemic, Indonesia was one of the nations that still mandated conducting instructional practices. Even though most teachers were not prepared for this sudden change, they eventually continued thanks to the approach of Paul. And despite some technical difficulties, lack of parental involvement, and other implementation related issues, it was carried out successfully for almost 2 years. For As this study attempts to explore students' and teachers' idea about the use of call instructions, descriptive qualitative was adopted. It is believed that a research technique known as descriptive design aims to describe a phenomenon, occurrences, or event that occurs in the present. In this study, two teachers from the University of Darussalam Gontor with 5 to 6 years of experience in teaching were involved as the participants, while the students participant of this study involved two semester students. Two instruments were applied in this study, observation and semi-structured interview. For the interview itself, there were five main questions addressed to both students and teachers. For the observation, the researchers acted as the complete participants so that the participants will not be able to be aware that they are being observed. A complete participant is a researcher who adopts an insider role within the group being studied and may not even explicitly identify as a researcher. The main aim of this type of observer is to understand the group culture, beliefs, and practices in a great detail from an insider viewpoint. And then for the data analysis, after the interview results were transcribed into the form of text, the next is to do the data reductions, data display, and drawing conclusion. For the data reduction is defined a selection process focusing on attentions in simplifying, abstracting, and transforming raw data that emerge from written records in the field. And the next steps was a data display. In this process, it is a set of structured information presenting the possibility of drawing conclusions. And then the last step was drawing a conclusion. Based on the data that has been reduced and presented, the researchers draw a conclusion supported by strong evidence at the data collection stage. The conclusion is the answer to the formulations of the problems and questions expressed by the researcher from the start. After the three steps conducted, a revision to the literature was carried out to facilitate the discussions of the findings. And then the story informations is intended to explain the subject under study by strengthening the findings of the study with existing theories and literature studies. The next will be findings and discussion. The first finding revealed that both teachers and students believe in the use of CAL to supply various teaching and learning resources. For students, they will not only depend on the learning materials presented by the teachers, but they can also obtain more materials from various resources. To connect with the previous research concerning a technology integration in English classroom, these days in technologically advanced society, language education should satisfy both teachers and students' literacy needs, considering how technology can be used to teach. learn, and produce language effectively and efficiently. Likewise, teachers also share a similar idea that employing CAL during their teaching activity enables students to be more independent. Students will not merely lean on the existing or printed materials, yet they are somehow encouraged to explore more materials from various digital resources. From this statement, it shows that a call instruction is able to provide richer perspective of a topic learned for students, which will eventually allow them as well to be more independent. The presence of college to cover issues of material design, technology, pedagogical theory, and instructional models. CAL materials are designed to cover all learners who aim to learn English, and they need to adapt to existing computer-based materials. The next finding is improving students' motivation and attitudes. The participants also remarked that applying such approach in both teaching and learning may boost students' motivation. As they are given some space to scrutinize the way that they are comfortable with, they become more interested, active, and creative in their learning process. The finding shows that by using real resources and cultivating learner-centered environments, CAL as a motivational method might produce positive results. From the previous research, it revealed how CAL could motivate second or foreign language learners to improve their learning. It disclosed that CAL as a motivational method might produce promising learning outcomes by providing authentic content and establishing learner-centered settings. Besides, teachers are convinced that to maintain students' motivation, it is necessary to create an interactive and engaging classroom atmosphere. One of the ways to conduct it is by attaching call compliance. In this sense, there is an investigation about the motivational and attitudinal impacts of CAL-based training on Iranian EFL learners. Their finding shows that in comparison to the control group, the experimental group's motivation for learning or second language increased drastically. The third finding of this research is ensuring language accuracy. The use of this approach in the EFL classroom was also believed to ensure the accuracy of the language learned. It was uttered from the teacher side that when they are assigned to teach speaking and listening classes, they feel more confident and ensure to use audio aid from the website or application. As they are not native speakers of English, there are also some possibilities to mispronounce the words. And it is also added that the most important factor in CAL-based learning is the software or material used in the learning. These materials can be designed by teachers themselves or adopting to existing resources in which the materials in CAL must be able to provide opportunities for students to modify interactions so that they can explore the accuracy of materials learned. These statements were also supported by the students' perspectives. One of the students assumed that using language application or e-dictionary enables students to reassure their doubts when it comes to pronunciation and spelling. The application of CAL in English learning is not only used as a teaching aid, but also functions as a presentation tool, learning aid tool, interpreter of the material being taught, or as a measure of the material studied. The last finding of this research is replacing live teachers. For this finding, students believe that the application of CAL will also substitute the presence of teachers in classroom setting, especially when it comes to language learning. They suppose that nowadays more language application and website existed and most of them are free to access. Therefore, this can be considered as a perfect opportunity for students to learn or improve the language without needing an extra class. However, this finding was objected. It was stated that the role of teacher is irreplaceable as technology enabled to become a facilitator, motivator, inspiration, mentor, developer of imagination, creativity, character values, as well as teamwork and social empathy. Technology also cannot replace the role of teachers as the character shapers of students. And the last point is conclusion. Admittedly, the presence of CAL in language teaching and learning does facilitate both teachers and students. The result of this study has significantly shown the positive impacts of applying CAL instructions in the EFL classroom. In addition, both teachers and students agreed about the influences of HAL, such as providing language teaching and learning resources, improving students' motivation, ensuring language accuracy, and several circumstances replacing teachers' roles. However, what teachers and students need to consider is to evaluate and assess what types of application, websites, or language applications used either in teaching or learning regarding students' level of knowledge. With the clear instructions and guidance from teachers, students can also adopt this approach in their learning so that both teachers and students are equally benefited. Furthermore, this study is endowed to the field of English language teaching and learning by focusing more on employing how as one of the approaches. Moreover, as this study only attempted to view from EFL classroom perspective, it is also expected to be beneficial for other language practices. Regarding the limitation of the study, due to the finite time, the researcher was unable to collect the data from more participants. It is highly recommended that with the same scope, the study may be developed by approaching different research approaches by including quantitative with the instrument or questionnaires to be involved more participants. And this is for the references that we use in this presentation. That is all from me, and thank you for your nice attention.